Morning, Alcove. So, yesterday I talked about spirituality a little bit, and I want to say something because I think I have this feeling that doing this every day, I have been letting it just flow, and I've been coming up with ideas every day, and they've just been kind of coming to me in the morning or at a certain time of day, and it's like, oh, that's what I should talk about today. And I feel like it's definitely a connection with, like I've been saying, a higher consciousness or the universe or spirits or God or whatever you believe in. I just think that I am getting these ideas for a reason, and that there's people out there that need to hear what I have to say. And I think through my own healing, like I've said, that certain people will need to hear the things that I have been through to help them get through wherever they are in life. Whether it's grief, whether it's addiction, and I've said this a bunch of times, I just want to help people, and I think that there's more to it. I think that there is, a timing and a place, and people that will see these videos in the future that will need to see them at certain times. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. But I've had times even doing this where I forget what I even said, and I'll go back and watch it and be like, oh yeah, like that's so true. Or I don't even remember saying that, but I'm so glad I said that. It is a crazy thing to see yourself speaking after the fact and be like, oh yeah, I did say that, or that connects in such a different way, or I'll say, oh, I should have said this, or I need to add to that, or whatever the case, but a while ago, at the beginning of COVID, I've told a couple people this, but I had this dream, okay? And I've had these dreams a few times throughout my life that are extremely vivid, extremely colorful, and just very moving dreams that I remember. And it's very bizarre. Like, it only happens every now and again. So at the beginning of COVID, I had a dream where I was in this apartment and I was sitting near a sliding glass door, and all of a sudden I heard this like screaming noise, and I looked outside, and there was like a big flash of bright light, and it was nighttime, but the whole sky lit up, and I could see this bird like screaming, like chirping, but like making this screeching noise. And it was so confusing, and I went out the door to see what was happening, and the sky lit up again, and I looked up, and there was this huge comet in the sky falling to Earth, right? And the screaming noise wasn't coming from the bird, it was coming from this comet that was like flying towards Earth, and I could see it, and it was lighting up the sky from night to like daylight outside. And I knew that was it, like life was gonna end, right? And I had this feeling like, okay, this is it, like whatever. I could see it coming down, and then when it hit, there was like this huge burst of energy and wind, and it like threw me back and ripped all the trees and all this stuff out, and I was like flying back, hit the ground, got covered in like dirt and trees and brush and whatever, and I knew that I had died. And I could literally smell like burning smell, like it was the craziest thing, and it was so vibrant, and I knew I had passed. My soul started floating up, and I had this overwhelming sense of like peace and knowing that I was gonna be with my family at that moment. And like, it was the weirdest dream. And I woke up, I told my family right away, because I was like, this is crazy. Like, it was just right, it just insane, right? And within that week, when I had that dream, we found out that my mom had pancreatic cancer. And it was right at the start of COVID. And of course, I decided to look up the meaning of a dream about the world ending or a comet or whatever. And it literally said that it meant that big change was coming. And just that experience alone just brings me to this place that there is more at play in this world that we live in. You know, the universe, God, spirits, like I said, whatever you believe in, something bigger than ourselves at play. And I think every day there are things going on around us that are bigger than ourselves and that we can tap into. Or, you know, when you get something that happens like that, there is meaning to it. There is a reason, you know, it's pushing you to a place to say, hey, like this is going to happen, or this is, you know, either way, all I'm trying to say is that I have a feeling, and I love so far that doing this, it's not necessarily a burden, right? It's like flow. Like I am just flowing with it. Whatever comes to mind, I am doing it, getting on here, giving you guys my thoughts, my take on things, how I healed in my life, hopefully to help you guys. I am bringing you things every day that are just coming up in mind, in spirit, whatever it is, okay? And I love that. I think that is so important. I think there's meaning to it. I think there's a reason for it. So, all that to say, follow along, comment, share, like, let me know your thoughts. I'm excited to see where it goes, but yeah, I just wanted to say that because I do think it's important, and I think that there is a reason for everything in life. And maybe you'll come across my video when it's meant for you, and something I say will plant a seed somewhere in there, and maybe even later on in life you'll be like, oh yeah, she said this about grief, or she said this about, you know, this situation, and it does apply to my life, or whatever the case. But I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing day. Go take a walk, get outside, go enjoy nature today, do something nice for yourself. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.